Shmida. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. All right, today we're going to go down the bizarre wormhole of Jeffrey Epstein's finances. But first, look at this. Ta-da! Look at this, everybody. The wait is over. We got Shmida fam clothes. So, I said way back, a fan of the show designed this logo, Christian Goddard, Christian with a K. I think he absolutely killed it. It says Shmida fam, and then right down here, small, it says True Crime Loser. I love that he did that. And then I went with Teespring because I didn't want my people in the UK and Australia to get hammered by shipping and handling like the mugs. Also, old dad loser needs a break from going to the post office 7 times a day. But look at these. I absolutely love it. I bought one myself just to make sure the quality was good before I told you guys about it, and I absolutely love it. It's soft. There are t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, crew neck sweatshirts, and hoodies available. In the t-shirts and long sleeve t-shirts, there's gray, black, and white, and in the sweatshirts, it's just black. I absolutely love mine. Get one for yourself. Awesome. All right, so. Oh yeah, 2, this week has been totally messed up because my internet has been down in my apartment. It's still down. And I'm recording this episode an hour early because the Spectrum guy is coming out from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to hopefully finally fix it. But it's throwing a real kink in the show, so that's why you haven't seen me yet. All right, let's get into Jeffrey Epstein's finances. How did he make his money? He's worth 9 figures, as his lawyer said in some lawsuit or something. Plus, he's got an island. Plus, he has a $77 million Upper East Side mansion that is called the largest house in New York. So, what did he make? What did he sell? How do you make? No one knows. Isn't that nuts? Like, I watched a Levi Strauss documentary over the weekend. I just ended up watching it. It's like these guys, they made a bunch of pants and then they sold their jeans and then now they're rich. But Epstein is not like that. It's like, what'd you make, Epstein? But in order to talk about Epstein's finances, first we have to talk about a man named Les Wexner. And Les Wexner was born in 1936 in Dayton, Ohio, and his parents owned a women's clothing store. And he tells a story about how his dad came up to him and he said, "Son, we've never been on a vacation, and your mom and I would like to go on vacation, and we trust you with the store to open and close the store." And he said, "Yes, Father." And so his mom and dad went on vacation, and while he was supposed to take over the store, there was a blizzard and there's no customers or anything. And so what Les did is he said, just to kill time because he was bored, is he got out all their inventories and started looking what actually sold in the store. And what he found is the sporting goods portion of the store of clothing. I don't know what sportswear for women looked like in 1936, but whatever it was making most of their profit, and the high-end like dresses and expensive coats and things like that, they weren't making any money on. So when his dad came back from the vacation, he said, "Dad, we got to talk. During the blizzard, I looked over all the numbers, and you're not making any money with these dresses and coats that cost a lot, but you're making money." And his dad just totally disagreed with him and said, "I disagree. This is my business. I've ran it for a long time. This is how, we've paid for your whole life," the whole 9 yards. And so they would get into these huge fights where they wouldn't talk, and then the mom would reconcile between them, and then they'd talk again, and then they'd get in these huge fights. Well, that left Les with a need and a want to prove his dad wrong. I know how to do business and I have good ideas. And so he set out to open his own clothing store businesses that would show his dad that he has good ideas. And then I'm getting most of this from an interview, like an hour interview that he did on some YouTube channel. It's like business accomplishments .money or something. But he tells all these stories that came out in 2017 that in 2017 don't seem that crazy. But now, with what's going on, it just like shivers would run up my spine hearing him talk about it. So he's talking about so he starts the brand Limited, and he starts the brand Express, and they call him King of the Malls because he would open one in one mall and then it would work, and then he would go to a next mall, and he had this whole thing. And Limited sells trendy clothes to young girls. And so he tells all these crazy stories about how it's like, you have to be a specialist in business. My friends that are a doctor, they're not a doctor, they're a specialist. And I didn't know much, but what I did know was what young girls wanted to buy. And it's just like young girls and young girls this and young girls that. And it's like, hey, I guess this is how much that I just get tricked by business and everything. Is if you would have asked me who owns Limited or who owns these Express stores when I was a teenager, I would have been like, I don't know, a hot woman. Or it's like, who owns Victoria's Secret? I don't know, a tall, hot woman in sexy underwear. Nope, it's this little guy named Les Wexner just being like, I know what young girls will buy next quarter. I know exactly what they'll buy. It's like, Les? It's like I was watching this interview with my girlfriend actually 2 nights ago, and I was sitting there just being like, God, this guy's gross. And up through the I watched the store during my parents' Blizzard vacation. Up until then, my girlfriend was like, I don't know. I think he's I don't know, I think he's fine. And then as soon as he was talking about, and then I predict what young girls will wear. And as I got older, I had to pay even more attention to what they would wear to know. And it's just like, dude, why do you think about young girls' clothes that much? And he goes, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, he tells this story about how he came up with Victoria's Secret. And he said he was sitting there driving in his car, and he goes, in my head I thought that girls that I know, most of them wear underwear most of the time. And I mean, this will come out as crazy once you. So he goes, the girls, they wear underwear most of the time, and women want to wear sexy lingerie all the time. And just that thought, I was laughing my head off in my car. So he's just like, young girls wear underwear most of the time. I'm less. I'm going to start a panty business. Panties and young girls. And so he's just driving around laughing at the thought that underwear is a thing. So he starts L Brands, which turns out to be a parent company of Bath and Body Works and Express and Victoria's Secret. They call him the bra billionaire. All right. All fine. Doesn't even seem that crazy, right? But, well, now Epstein comes into the picture. His friends, I got a lot of this from the New York Times article, like 5 or 6 writers did a pretty good piece in the New York Times, and they found a lot of good stuff. But they were saying that, so at the height of this L brand, with all the parent company, with all these huge successful companies under him, he brings on this guy named Jeffrey Epstein, kind of out of the blue. And this guy's resume is thin, to say the least. He dropped out of college, taught at some school in Manhattan without being qualified, calls himself a hedge fund manager, but he has no other clients. No one can find a tax record or a contract or anyone that did any business with Epstein except underwear boy Les Wexner. Rusty? Imagine if Russell Williams was able to be friends with Les. Les is like, hey Russ, I'm gonna go out and get some food. You just gonna hang? And Russ is like doing the backstroke naked in a pile of underwear. Just be like, I'll be here, Leslie. See you around. So he, at the height of this L brand's success, he brings in Jeffrey Epstein, who he gives total power over. At a certain, I think years later, he even just signed over power of attorney. So he could sign checks for less. He could sign tax returns. He could hire and fire people. And to do this in a businessman's prime, no one in Les's life understood. It's like, why are you giving this guy total power of your businesses when you're completely capable of running them? And so, like I said, if I researched how Epstein made his money, I just wouldn't even know where to start. But there's people that know how to look at all this stuff and taxes and contracts and all this stuff. And there's like, I don't know. I don't know where the money came from. I don't know what he sold or his business deals or anything. And so you can't not think of, were these guys just selling kids or blackmailing or working with Saudi Arabia? Or, how do you make 9 figures and you didn't sell anything? Well, all right. So worst case scenario, it's a global pedophile trafficking, selling kids. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is they think that maybe Epstein took the money that Les was making selling underwear to young girls and invested it in currency markets. So essentially, they were selling underwear and trendy clothes to young girls, taking that money and betting that money on how much other money is going to be worth. And so they're just like, I feel like these people like this, they're just good at moving money around. Like Deutsche Bank found that Epstein had dozens of accounts at their bank. And so in 2018, when the shit started hitting the fan with Epstein and everybody started distancing themselves and Deutsche Bank started closing, Chase had already kicked Epstein out, which you got to do a lot for Chase to be like, we're not working with you. So Epstein has dozens of, and so Deutsche starts trying to close all their, and they were coming out with statements being like, yeah, we have closed a bunch, but as soon as we think we've closed them all, we find more and we don't know what to do. And this is Deutsche Bank saying that about themselves. And so Epstein's entire life was set up to where if the shit hits the fan, it's impossible to shut down his money. And, he had $56 million in that safe. But so I think they were just taking this underwear money and then being like, we'll move it over here and then we'll bet on how much money this other money's going to be worth, and then we'll put it in a foundation, and then we'll put it in a charity, and then that charity has a foundation, and then some guy in Saudi Arabia is going to hold on to it for 2 hours, and then we're going to buy some underwear, and then we're going to buy something in a different type of currency, and then we're going to move it to a bank in the Virgin Islands, and then voila, we won. Les tells a story about, he's totally insane story, and he's just nuts if he thinks any of us believe this, where he was like, the businesses were growing, and that's all I cared about. At one point, I asked an assistant, do I have any money? And the assistant was like, yeah, what do you want to buy? And he was like, I'd like to buy a car. And the assistant was like, well, how much would you like to spend? And he goes, $3,000. And it's like, Les, what are you talking about? And he tells a story about how he was like, I don't even care about the money. Did Tiger Woods care about the money? No, he just likes to play golf and he likes to win. And it's like, Les, other people have agreed on the game, and it's like organized. You guys are just moving money over here, okay, and then over here in Saudi Arabia, sorry about that, and then yep, it's over here, underwear over there, young girls over here. I think about young girls all the time. What do they want to buy? Young girls. My best friend is Epstein, and yeah, there's a lot of money now. Wonder how'd that happen? And so Epstein has total control, and of course now that everything's happening, Les Wexner is 81, and everything that's happening now, he put out a statement through a spokesperson. I had no idea, no idea, nothing, no idea about the illegal activity. He was my best friend. He spoke at my birthday. We've invested in Saudi Arabian God knows what together. But no, I had no idea. We talked about young girls all the time and their underwear. But no, sorry, I had no idea. Well, Les, I don't believe you. Because the executives of L Brands were very used to getting calls being like, yeah, this guy named Jeffrey Epstein said that he was a recruiter for Victoria's Secret, and these girls got in their underwear, and then he kind of just attacked them, and they ran out of the room, and now, and the executives would be like, okay, one moment, and then they would call Les and be like, Les, your boy is freaking all the women out again. He's saying he's a recruiter. He's not a recruiter. And Les would be like, oh, I'll handle Epstein. I'll handle Jeffrey. Old Jeffrey. And Wexner actually his townhouse in the Upper East Side that I went up and showed you guys, that was owned by Wexner, and then in 2011 he transferred it to Epstein for $0. Pretty good for Epstein. Just a house, awesome. That's perfect. So Mike DiPolito gave his house to Dahlia, and Les Wexner gave his house to Epstein. Anytime someone gives someone a house, you gotta be a little bit, what's going on over here? Anytime for the rest of my life, if I hear a house being given to someone, I'm gonna be like, do you like underwear a little too much or something? What's going on here? What are we doing? And then people like this, looking into this, it's just you gotta be weary of any family that all these psycho underwear crime families are really good about having foundation and charities. Like, there was so many foundation that Wexler had, and then those foundations would have 3 branches, and then they would make money and then give it to the foundation. Well, oh wait, who's the trustee of the board? Oh, it's Epstein. And then you give it to a foundation. Who runs the foundation? Well, it's Epstein, baby. And the Benny Hill theme keeps going. And then so it's like, oh yeah, we got a foundation, and then that foundation has a charity, and then we got another foundation, and Epstein runs the whole lot, and Saudi Arabia has been helping. And at one point, this just shows you the type of people that these guys are. At one point, Les Wexner's mom was a trustee on some board for something, money, currency. Was some trustee on a board, and she was sick, so they removed her off the board, and then when she was well, she wanted to come back on, and they got into an argument, and Epstein sued Les's mother. And then he, in a Vanity Fair article that came out a long time ago, he said some quote where he's proud of stuff like this, being like, sometimes I have to protect my clients even from their families. So this Les guy, he can pretend that he didn't do it because Epstein was protecting him. But this Les guy sued his own fucking mom, all right? Jesus. It just thinks about underwear. I wonder what these young girls are wearing this quarter. Mom, I'm suing you. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Let's see. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not even playing the game they're playing. They're like, we're like Tiger Woods. We're winning. We're making all this money by just buying other currencies and betting on them. And it's like, I think I'm just good not playing. Have fun up there. I had no idea he was doing any of that. And Epstein was talking at his birthday. It's just totally nuts. But be wary of anyone with a lot of money that doesn't make anything. That's my outlook. But I'm going to cut it off there. There'll be a link in the description. Hopefully my internet is fixed in like an hour and I can actually post this episode. But I absolutely love these. They're super soft. Couldn't be happier with them. Christian, you killed it, man. I love you all. Why? Starving why? Shamita, fam sweatshirt.